great. It's like seeing Broadway.
My name is Paul James. I host English News.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show, a show talking about right or wrong, a show talking about truth, nothing but the truth. It is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. A prominent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of master craftsmen, which stands for a testimony to the spectacular and a share of a royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelries. That brings us to the show. All right, the show today, we have a big subject versus what had happened 2 days ago. The subject gets even bigger, that's world peace. Join me in handling such a big subject is my dear friend, Rudy Westervelt. So, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for having me on board today.
Rudy is the past district governor for several terms, and a good friend who stands for the right or wrong, who stands for the truth, nothing for the truth, exactly fits the category. All right. That's not bad, right?
That's great.
Good. All right. And why don't you start by telling me and the audiences why you're here today?
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Today, I want to make sure that everybody knows what Rotary does in the world. And one of those is creating peace through service as we connect in almost every country and territory around the world. Our 1.2 million members are reaching out in their communities, making a real difference in people's lives on simple things, giving them shelter and food, clothing, but also on the education of our children and adults, and health care. We've almost eradicated polio around the planet. In fact, we would have had there not been terrorism in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria.
Last time I heard, there was only down to 6 or whatever occurrences.
Right. I think this year there are 8 cases. Now, but it's we will finish the job, and it'll only be the second time in history that a disease has been eradicated on the planet.
We'll be wiped out on the global Earth.
Exactly.
What a success.
But so each of those things actually leads us to peace.
Of
and
course.
so today I'd like to talk about Rotary World Peace Conference 2020 that our 6 Southern California districts are hosting at the Ontario Convention Center on January 17th and 18th, coming up here in 2020. And the 2-day conference will focus on not just problems, but solutions. And so we want everybody to know that there are solutions out there to major things, like human trafficking, child abuse, domestic violence, problems we're having in the world today, even in our own homes and communities, cyberbullying, or we have our young people hurting themselves or taking their lives because they've been bullied online at an increased rate. And certainly media has a role in creating peace or resolving conflict and reporting the truth, and also international trade as we develop relationships around the world with our trade, that we don't create barriers to economic trade that allow people to grow and be able to earn a fair living and support themselves and their communities. And so we're looking at bringing together about 2,500 leaders and business leaders and community leaders. It's open to the public, and there with almost 150 different experts from all sectors of society will be speaking on solutions that we can get behind and make a major change.
Good, very good. Thank you, sir, for the excellent introduction. And it looks that we have a small world. However, this very small world has more problems than we can handle. And there's a quote from Kaiser Permanente saying that they save the world by one life at a time, something like that, to indicate the kind of moving, constant, steady moving And one by one given time, the problem would be taken care of. That's the thing with. And before we go into all the subjects of the convention, though, I would like to bring some understanding, basic understanding of my audiences. Well, I know to be humble, to play low key is good. However, compared to those who always yell at the top of their lungs, you guys were less one advantage, taking less advantage of the world. People know less about Rotary International than Wall Street. Do you think that's a fact?
I believe that's probably correct.
Right, good. All right. And people know much less the presence of Rotary International than Bill Gates, for example, than Jobs, right? So I'm just taking a random example to indicate that we, as media, as a public media, you just mentioned, thank God you mentioned that, we play responsible media. Word responsible means that we want to get into it, right? As between right or wrong, between black and white, we take no sides, we bring the fact, right? Now, once we target at something that we believe that's right, we join it. We are in, right? So Rotary is the subject that I've been following for at least the past 6 years, ever since I started the show. And by the way, I know the incoming governor of the 5300 district, Luan Arredondo, right? And previously many of them. And also I know your international big boss, right, Mr. Wang, right? So,
Gary Wang.
And I'm very close to it. But my audience need understanding of basically what a Rotary is. When was it founded? How come it has more than 1.3 million members? Well, is there any organization bigger than Rotaries internationally? Or something like that.
Okay.
And what you do, well, where does the money come from? Which is the most part, right? There's a saying that if you can't get an answer, follow the money, right? You follow all the way till the end, you find no money, you take another look at this bunch of people. They are not working for money, right? That's my touch. Can you please?
No, please. Thank you, Jack. Rotary was founded in 1905.
1905.
1905. It's the oldest, largest humanitarian organization in the world, and was founded in Chicago, Illinois, by Paul Harris. And we've grown to the size we are today. And the goal has always been to create peace through responsibility, understanding, being involved in our communities, and taking care of those in need. But we do it with our time, talents, and resources. And so we are all volunteers.
All volunteers.
All volunteer organization.
Yes.
And we make donations into what's called the Rotary Foundation, which is a world-recognized high-level foundation, very honorable. And from those donations that we personally give to the Rotary Foundation, we're able to support projects in maternal and children's health, disease prevention and treatment, economic and community development, and literacy and education, peace and conflict resolution. And we work on those around the world. So we would host in another country a project, and they might host a project here in the United States. For example, one of our districts just up in the Sacramento area just got a large global grant funded by Rotarians to take on human trafficking for the whole city of Sacramento. And we're looking to take on some similar projects across Southern California.
I see.
But we work, because of our reach and because we cover, Rotarians are members of all sectors of society. We have all different vocations out there. It could be media, it could be industry, manufacturing, it could be a legal firm, it could be in the restaurant and hotel industry, it could be in government, nonprofits, education. But we have, because we are so large and volunteer organization, we're able to meet people like yourself that help us carry the message out and help us do the work. and make connections that we're
Gladly,
able to
gladly,
work on
yes.
communities together and take on real problems out there. You know, we need to solve homelessness. We've got a
Thank you
variety
very,
of things, right?
very much. That's a very vivid description about who you are, what you do, right? And nowadays, everything, if you put everything together, everything comes to one end, that is who you are, what do you do? All right, now, comparatively, a child has a polio problem, and that problem itself, of course, you weigh it, is much, much, much lesser in weight than to create a war in Iraq, all right? Or some other place creatable, right? Something like that, right? However, what you see is a picture, right? In between singers, I'm sorry, I do not have any intention to say anything about singers as bad things. I'm talking about using singers as one symbol. You see more singers than doers. So that's the problem. And thank God we have the bunch of people of Rotary International, more than 1.3 million members. Last time I learned from my friend Luann Arredondo, all over the world. And district-wise, there is take 5,300, 5,333 for 100. Oh, how big is your territory of the 5,033?
5330 goes, basically covers Inland Empire from Temecula all the way, kind of follows the 15 north through Ontario, Fontana, and then it heads east all the way through Palm Springs out in the Coachella Valley, including the high desert up in 29 Palms and that area. And so we cover a pretty large footprint. The largest one is District 5300, as you're mentioning, which goes all the way to Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
But covers a huge territory.
95 miles north of Las Vegas. Such a big territory. And within the territory, they do nothing but helping people, right? So my dear friends, and it's my pleasure today to have the opportunity to sit together with a great man whose name might not be that big, but what he does really is something that I salute. All right, so let's take a moment. We will be right back. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. Wolfers, that stands for a testimony to spectacular and a share of the royal glory. We will be right back, please.
Le bijou icône Philippe Wolfers qui date de 1902. Il faut la regarder contre la lumière pour avoir toutes les couleurs de ce bijou qui est extraordinaire. Avec les opales, c'est un thème très à la mode, à la période Art Nouveau. On voit en argenterie, mais aussi en peinture. Et ça a à voir aussi quelque chose un peu symbolique. Une libellule, c'est très belle quand on la voit de loin, mais quand on l'approche, c'est comme un dragon en anglais. On dit un dragonfly.
C'est une des grandes figures de l'Art Nouveau. Et cette pièce, mieux que n'importe quelle autre, témoigne de sa virtuosité. L'opulence, le raffinement, les courbes et les couleurs, et puis le thème aussi, qui raconte une époque. Libellule a été réinterprétée, plus légère, mais c'est bien à son aïeul qu'elle fait référence, une pièce désormais accessible à tous, puisqu'elle est passée de la boutique au musée.
Everything expected. It's like it seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host this news.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience, the brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow, your lovely host on the East West Show, a show talking about right or wrong, a show talking about nothing but the naked truth. The naked truth being that we have a very problematic world, and yet a job needs to be done. There are very few people who really see that, what they see the most eye-catching stuff. Right? As a responsible media, we try to do our job in the best way we can. We do not join the finger-pointing business, name-calling business, or strangling business, or even smacking business. We don't do that at all. What we do, we promote what we see is positive because we need lots of positivity. Rotary International is one of them that we're talking about. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. Wolfers, a testimony to spectacular and a share of the royal glory. We will continue now. Right? With me is my good friend, Mr. Rudy Westervelt. He is the past governor for the district. And the subject today is talking about the Peace Convention of 2020, January the 17th and the 18th in the Convention Center of Ontario, right close to us. Right, good. There are all kinds of conventions. Right? The Peace Convention is the biggest, not only by the size, but also by the organizers, and most importantly is the significance. It is the biggest by significance, right? And you just mentioned that at the road race, you take problems as an opportunity to spearhead into it, to get it resolved. How did you, I mean, not yourself personally, I mean, folks at Rotary, establish such a philosophy, please?
I think it came from people that looked at things with a little different attitude, and not the empty glass, but glass half full. Mm-hmm. And knowing that there is value in each of our vocations and education, mm-hmm. that we should be giving to make the world a better place. And so when we look at things, if we see a person who's homeless, we could just feed them, but wouldn't it be better to give them health care, mental care, mental health care, and also mm-hmm. help educate them to get them back on their feet in a level of employment
Teach
where
them
they
fishing.
Exactly.
Instead of just giving them a fish.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
And so when we look at those things, for instance, there's a gentleman over in San Bernardino that put together an organization that he actually works with NASA, but he's brings in and employs those people that are homeless, and they just don't have a subsistence living, but they are educated in a technical field that they can raise themselves up to a higher level. It's called Launch Initiative.
All right.
His name is Mike Gallo, and that would be one example in that region. And there's plenty of examples out there of people that are making those changes and a difference. And and I think that's kind of what sets us aside on looking at these problems and making a difference. When we see a child, for instance, we have camps for high school students and elementary and middle school students, leadership camps in Rotary in our 2 districts. And one of those camps for 7th graders, and one of the things we do is to have understanding from each other that children have problems today in their homes that we didn't recognize when we were growing up. And one of those happens to be cyberbullying. And when a little girl expressed to me that her best friend had committed suicide, a 7th grader, because she was cyberbullied.
Some kids die from it.
Exactly, cyberbullied, and the tears rolled down my face, and I said, we have to do something about this. If we can put on a conference, if we can bring together leaders and experts with solutions to save one life
at a time.
One life at a time. If we can save from human trafficking one little boy or girl today, won't that have been worth it?
Yes.
And it's us being able to share that message of solutions, and that's why we've all been to plenty of conferences where we heard great speakers and went home and didn't do anything. This conference is different.
Please allow me for a little insertion. Okay. All right. Now we argue white supremacy between black supremacy, or green supremacy. I don't know if there is green, right? Or yellow supremacy. How about human supremacy? How about we are all human beings? How about we are all Earth siblings? From that perspective, I would say we got lots of job to do, right? So a person is wrong. Is a wrong person a person or not?
Everybody's a person.
Yeah.
And so
all right.
and we have different opinions on
Yeah,
things.
a human being might have problem. Is a problematic human being not a human being?
No, they're still a human being.
Right. Now, and the other day, including yesterday at lunch, I had it with a big group of a friend. I made a speech, not exactly a speech. I was just a kind of center of the gathering, right? I told them there is all kinds of terrorism there. There is all kinds of terrorism wars. If you go into the root of the problem, you will find out we were wrong 1,000 years ago. Human being did something we did not supposed to do. We're not supposed to do. And then the hatred goes on and on, and rotates into a bad rotation till now. Okay, they say, yeah, just launch another war, eliminate them. Who is them? Are they not human beings, right? Do they have any children of themselves? Do the children grow up into adults? Do they, sound the future problems? The same thing. You can never resolve by military or by armed forces. All you can do is to call together as human beings to love each other. Give them a helping hand. I adore. I would vote with both hands on what you do, to solve a problem one at a time, to save a life one at a time. If the whole world is doing what you do, what a Rotary do, I would say we have a world 10 times better than what is now, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So, yeah, go ahead. That's my insert.
And so, that's
I
great.
I feel excited every time you touch that subject, though.
Well, you're perfectly correct on this. We have a couple of organizations that are now partners with Rotary that they'll be highlighting their work at the conference. One of those is Mediators Beyond Borders. And so we have, that organization has mediators in it all around the world that have negotiated conflict between two sides. It may be in an office building, or it may be out between two leaders of two different countries. But they help understand that there's an understanding that we come to that agreement that you have your truth, I have my truth, but between us we can have a joint truth that makes it better, that we can all agree, common ground that we can agree on. And so that's one of those that we'll be highlighting, and some of those have helped eliminate wars. Then we also have Institute for Economics and Peace. That's a think tank out of Australia. And they've developed something called a Positive Peace Index, as well as a Global Peace Index that looks at terrorism and a variety of things out there. But on the positive peace side, it looks at a variety of things in our life, sort of like human needs theory, but it also ties in Sustainable Development Goals with the UN, well-being, education, health, those things that really fit into the pattern with Rotary.
Exactly.
And so there are ways to take our cities and apply that model to it, and raise them out of this area of violence and unemployment and homelessness, and up together, economically and well-being wise, we can raise those cities up where there's not violence in them. And so we'll be showcasing some examples in that at the conference.
Yeah, that's the kind of education. That's the kind of education. I always wonder if you tell somebody who is born blind how beautiful sunshine is, you will be talking about nothing. Well, he would not understand what sunshine is, right? Now, the thing is that for him to love sunshine is to really enjoy what sunshine is, right? Okay, like those people who've been fighting together ever since. Suppose you live only in a life expectancy for, like, say, 80 years. And then they've been fighting more than 80 years. That means this very person, from the moment he or she was born to the moment he dies, everything, every day is a fight. Every day is a fighting. So fighting is a norm. Never know what peace tastes like, what the peace look like. So that kind of education you mentioned is to teach them this is the way to go. This is peace. Am I right?
Exactly. I mean, today when we have 65 million people displaced because of wars and conflict, and half of those are children who have never seen anything but conflict their entire life.
Yeah.
Don't we think we should be able to get back to some of these things and work on them? For example, there's a group now in between Palestine and Israel. It's called the Parents Circle.
Parents Circle?
Parents Circle. And parents from both sides who have lost a child are coming together for understanding and empathy and calling for peace so that no more children have to die.
All right. You touched my heart. We have to take a break, and we'll be right back. With me today is my friend Rudy Westervelt, and he is the past district governor of Rotary 5300 district. Yes, this is a big subject. We will be right back after this short break, please. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. You dear brother, sister, you dear fellow earthlings, welcome back to the show. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. A prominent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, a Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of history and hand-forged by 10 generations of master craftsmen, which stands for a testimony for the spectacular and share of the royal glory. The palace-grade artistic jewelry. That brings us back to the show. With me today, Mr. Rudy Westervelt. He is the past governor for District 53. He is joining me talking about the big subject of the convention of 2020 in January 17 to 18. Rotary is a big subject that I've been following for the past 6 years. I admire, I salute to everything you do. You just mentioned about a program called the Parent Circle.
Correct.
Right. And sounds to be something bittersweet. Really touched me. I really want you to bring it to my audience, please.
Okay. And so the civilians, especially in an area where there's conflict or war, the mothers, fathers are trying to protect their families. are trying to take care of them like normal human beings, right? And to lose a child anytime, but particularly in those areas, there's an understanding. If I've lost a child and you've lost a child, we each know that pain.
Yes.
And together, even though we
right.
might be on different
Yes,
sides
yes,
or in different
yes, you're right,
countries,
you're right.
or maybe it's different gang families or whatever it happens to be, at some point it hits home with us that we have to be part of the solution and ask for peace and call on our governments and the two sides to stop fighting. Wouldn't it be great, like the work you're doing, Jack, is when the next thing comes up on the screen that says breaking news, we've just created peace in the Middle East. We've just created peace between two rival gangs in Los Angeles. We've just created peace in another area of the community. Wouldn't that be beautiful breaking news?
Oh my God! I would really love to see even the parents who lost their own child get married. They're being rivals, right? And then more that story happens, the less the fight. And that brings me, when you mentioned the term, I said you touched my heart, was that exactly, there was in China one time after the war, people either lost a husband, or wife lost a husband, or husband lost a wife, a family of kids have lost their parents, or vice versa. The government formed a group to do the exactly same thing, to form a family, to start love again, right? So they get married with the kids, with some kids, they form a man-made family. If that thing gets going on as model, more enough for people to see the Palestinian problems versus Israel, and any problem in the Middle East, I would say they will follow, they will copy and cease fire. Do you think so?
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I give 2 thumbs up on that.
Okay, there's, there's a variety of things that we have solutions to. We don't have solutions to everything, but we're looking for those people that have solutions and to be our speakers. We'll have over 150 different speakers there, experts with solutions to these major issues.
Yeah, you mentioned in their field, right?
In their fields, yes. And so we've got a gentleman coming up from San Diego whose son, when he was 20 years old, was delivering pizza, and he was killed by a 14-year-old as the 14-year-old's gang initiation. The 14-year-old was being raised by his grandfather. And the father went through a lot of pain and heartbreak having lost his son. But at some point, and forgiveness, he came together with the grandfather to understand the grandfather's pain because he lost a grandson who's been 37 years now in prison. And so the two of them came together in forgiveness and now go around to schools, particularly inner city, talking to the students there about choices they could make, bad versus good choices that affect your life forever. And so he'll be one of those areas that will be talking to us because it's important to find forgiveness and healing in your own heart when something bad happens to you, so you can move forward and begin to help so that loss wasn't for naught, that you can do good through that and extend out and reach out to your community and other people.
I like that. I like that. It's a very touchy story. And the other day I had this discussion with my friend Ken Hemming of Pasadena. We're talking about the world being an environment that is full of hatred. People hate each other, groups hate each other, rivals hate each other, right? So tribals hate each other. How can we stop the hate? We really need a hammer that hits the nail on the head. How, right? Do you think that can be boosted up to magnify it to a larger view to let the world know. At least we can do that, right?
Absolutely.
You have lost your son. I lost my grandson, 37 years in jail whatsoever. Oh no, 37 years and in jail anyway. So, and then if we start hate each other, I kill you and then another life. You kill me, another life. If we kill each other, 2 more lives. That's the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really glad, really happy that Rotary picked that as a subject. What else have you picked up?
So we have, in fact, some of these other solutions to that to be able to break down the divide, whether it's red and blue in the United States today, or it's between different religions and all those.
Yeah.
And so
Speaking of that devil.
Yeah, we've got a couple different groups that are coming in to show people how they can begin to talk and break down those barriers. One's called Better Angels, who goes through an area where we understand how you came to your beliefs. You listen. You ask me about my beliefs and how I came to those about. And it may have been from my parents and grandparents and whatever. I've grown up in a certain belief. And I understand things. Each of us has our own truth. How do we develop empathy, understanding of each other, that we're human beings? We still have to have a roof over our head. We have to have clothing on to keep us warm. We have to drink clean water and eat food, get educated and take care of our families. We're each human beings with certain needs. And begin to see some common ground that we can agree on until we reach a point where those other things really don't matter. Only it matters that we're human beings here. We have families. We should love and take care of each other. And there's another one called Living Room Conversations that Joan Blades started same way. So there's a few of these we're going to test out. And some on the understanding get back to some of the original Native American traditions that would sit around a table. They might not agree on everything, but you had to listen. And I'd pass the feather to Jack, and Jack would talk, and then he'd pass the feather to the next person, and each would talk, and we would listen for better understanding. And that's what we need today, better understanding.
We treat each other like human beings, right? And you know what? If we would look into history a little deeper, though, we'll find out, like I just mentioned, about 1,000 years ago, started with the crusade time, human beings started to do wrong. That has planted the seed of hatred. And it goes on and on for 1,000 years, the revenge, re-revenge. The best thing to do, correct me if I'm wrong, is to copy United States example, the model. When we started this land, though, we used to drive the Indians away like crazy. We killed them like crazy. And then when we realized that, we stopped it. Not only that, we offered them camps, we offered them reservations, we offered them special terms and tax terms whatsoever, and we respect their own life, though. And that stops the conflicts. Can we do this? Can we do that? If Rotary is getting involved further, though, with those examples that gets enlarged into a big module and goes on, we would create a better world.
In part of that, you're correct, Jack, but part of that is also having people assimilate into society so they're not different, so that we're all the same, we all have opportunities, right? Along these lines. We've certainly, human beings throughout history have done some bad things, hurting other human beings.
Yes.
And so we need to get past that and begin to move on. I mean, through fear motivates us sometimes. Through fear, we put Japanese Americans in internment camps during World War II, right? Heaven forbid that we would ever allow fear again to do that same thing, where we would put other groups in internment camps out of fear.
And right now you have a bunch of people at the border asking to get in for asylum, and you're building a wall, you're flaunting the door closed whatsoever. So, and well, by the way, speaking of that devil, so I do need your take. Rotary take.
Rotary is not a political organization.
I know. No, there's not a politics. There's not a politics
no,
at all.
It's basic human rights.
Yeah, human rights.
And certainly what Rotarians do, if we have people coming from Central and South America because they're fear for their lives or economic development, in the United States, we all came from somewhere else.
Yeah,
Except for the Native Americans.
Yeah, we all, yes.
We all came in here to make the world better. And certainly there's a lot of value in folks coming up. We ought to treat them as human beings.
Yeah.
We should never be separating children from parents. We wouldn't want our own children to die.
We deserve a handshake on that one. All right, thank you very much. My dear audience, my lovely brothers and sisters, I kind of getting excited because I do see somebody like-minded. And then I found that person in Rotary, Rotary International, the past district governor of 5,300. And yet, we have more subject to touch. And let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we put all the problems that Rotary had been solving or had already solved, such as polio, we put together, we want to establish a philosophy. Shall we please, right? So stay with us. We will be right back. Hello, dear friends, lovely folks, my dear fellow siblings. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show. A show talking about right or wrong, a show talking about truth, nothing but the truth, the naked truth. The naked truth being that this world is very problematic and is getting more and more so every single day. Just 2 days ago in Sri Lanka, what happened had caught everybody in surprise. We are stunned by what had happened. Do we deserve that? Do we human beings deserve to even see that? Well, anyway, the answer is somewhere anyhow. So with me today, in touching the subject in the great show, is my good friend, Mr. Rudy Westervelt. He is the past governor for the district. And in the show that is sponsored by Wolfers, Wolfers is supporting what's right and against wrong. Wolfers is supporting the truth, nothing but the truth. Together we wanted to live a good life, a prominent life. How about that, right? Okay, now, back to Rotary. I know starting from 1905 to now, 2019, that's 114 years have passed, right? During the 114 years, the Rotaries have done so many glorious things that can be called a monument, right? So, altogether, I have a question. The human beings can start from the white brothers wanting to fly yet couldn't fly, to now we can fly to the moon, to Mars, to anywhere. So 100 years is long enough to do such a big difference, right? How can we not, with the 114 years, starting from a rotary point to rotary world now, to have the whole world look at the rotaries? You land on Mars, all eyes on Mars, right? Right? You land on a child with put two families together, nobody's looking at it.
Well, I think people are. We just need a little more of your help, Jack, getting it out to the world out
Let's
there.
do it.
So you're 500,000 or more members out there and viewers. I welcome you to join with us, with Rotary and Rotarians. We need your help. We can't do it alone. We need to spread the good news, but we also need to know your needs and then come together with us, and we can fix these things together. I believe there are more people on the planet that want peace, they want good health, they want human trafficking to end, they want the fighting to end. I believe that. And so together, with everybody's help, your viewers, our community's help, we can pull together and make some huge differences. If we can eradicate polio from the planet, then we can stop anything. We can do anything. We can stop human trafficking if we really put our hearts and minds to it, right? If we want there to be no more violence in our schools, there are solutions to that, and we'll be highlighting some of those at the Peace Conference. We happen to talk to a couple of the Parkland High students.
Okay.
After our conference we did in 2016, we started an online Rotary Club, the Rotary E-Club of World Peace, that meets on Tuesday evenings at 6:30. And online, we have a variety of speakers in. So we had Parkland students with us. And when I asked them, don't you have counseling there? Are they helping you? And he said, we have about 3,000 students, 60 counselors, but I wouldn't take a personal problem to one of those. They're guidance counselors. So we need to understand that there are mental health needs, safe places for our students to go when they feel that they're going to hurt themselves or somebody's going to hurt them, or something's happening at home that they need to let it out, or they're depressed. They need to have someone to talk to with some mental health at school.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of the mental health, though, we should remember to add on to the veteran problems, right? Who fight for this country, who believe in the war. Believe it or not, they went in anyway because they are soldiers. Soldiers follow orders, right? They went in, and the lucky ones survived, and the unlucky ones, well, never stood up. They fell there, right? So to the lucky ones, they are not lucky at all because they are suffering the PTSDs. Some PTSDs give to symptoms of mental problems. So we should probably put them together. In Rotary, did you include them?
Yes, we did.
In
fact, they'll be part of this conference. But we have a couple different solutions that are working with animals, working on with the veterans on PTSD. One of those happens to be horseback riding on Manzanita Ranch. But there's also a group that has service dogs for veterans to help this healing and caring.
Yes.
But we'll also be working on with some of the different hospitals here that are performing health care today. And on the PTSD area is not only with our veterans. Our children today who grow up in a home where they've suffered child abuse or they've watched domestic violence happening have their own form of PTSD.
Look at the case with the 12 children.
Oh.
Right?
Over in Paris, yeah.
The animals. And look at the children. Suppose their life, I would say, their life totally destroyed. To have gone through such a childhood, though, the future life is destroyed. They need lots of counseling, lots of healing, right? So go ahead, please.
So the same could be true with children growing up inner city where they hear gunshots all night long. Or they come out of their house and there's a chalk mark where there was a body the night before. You know, what are they suffering inside, right? Or how about the children? You know, we have 65 million refugees, and half of those are children who have never seen anything but conflict their whole life. Do you think they're suffering PTSD? In Lebanon, a third of the population now are refugees from Syria. A Rotary over there put in order to make sure the children can go to school, with the new schools they've built, they put in clean water and sanitation so all the children, including girl children, can go for an education and to help those children out.
Those at the borders, some of them are running from persecutions, right? Their life was being endangered, right? So they need help. They need a big hand to cover them, to pull them up. So, and you look at that, you know what you need to do. Just suppose, I often dream myself being one of them, right? How much shall I pray, say, God, 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 please help, right? Just to try to understand that kind of mind, you will probably understand what you want to do. At the convention, I believe that I will do my part to call along people, to call on my folks to come join the convention. It's 2 days, January the 17th to January the 18th. What day are those?
That's a Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
And they can go to our website, peaceconference2020.org. We have speakers up there. We have registrations online. We'd love to have you come and join us. It's got a special rate right now. We also will be honoring on that Friday night dinner on the 17th in the evening. We have a Community Heroes Night.
Wow,
and
good.
so we're going to be asking across all of Southern California our communities to come together, and your viewers can nominate people as well from our website.
All right.
And we will honor, I don't care if it's a child that's helped save or change a life to an older adult. There are people out there doing good, and we want to highlight and thank those people that are going above and beyond to make your community a better community, a healthier community, and a peaceful community.
All right, okay. And that's exactly what I want to call for. I'm thinking about, of course, Rotary are doing so good. The Rotarians are such wonderful human beings. I can give you at least 5 or 6 people, examples, models that I know. Around me is my friend. You know Drexel Smith? Drexel Smith went with a mission to India, to somewhere where they had the water problems, right? And they helped the people not only with the water, fresh water they brought in, but to dig wells, and which they dug for clean water, right? And it sounds like a good story. And he stayed there for more than 20 days or something. I didn't realize the significance until I asked, where did you get the money? What do you mean? I said, where did you get the money? You got to fly there, right? You got to stay somewhere. You got to eat whatsoever. Oh, pocket money. When that is mentioned, I gave him a big salute like this. In this world, right, people regret that I did not succeed robbing a bank. They regret they did not rob a bank. Now you have people who take the pocket money out to do things for others. There are hundreds of examples of this, right? And versus what everybody else is doing, you really want to know who you want to copy, who do not, right? So that's the thing,
Right.
right? And today with my dear friend Rudy, and we had some good time. I want you to wrap it up. We're out of time, but I still want you to wrap it up with some information to my audience, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Jack, for having me here today, and thank you, audience, for tuning in and watching Jack and I talk a little bit about peace and what the needs are, and about what's the solutions out in the community. I'd love to have you join us on the 17th and 18th of January, 2020, a few months away from now, at the Ontario Convention Center, to get behind and learn about solutions to major issues, and then join with us to take those back out in your communities around the world and really, really, really put those into effect. And together we can create positive change and peace in the world. And so go to our website, peaceconference2020.org. Look at the website, but click on the Register tab. Register today. And if you're a nonprofit with something to show off, we also have an exhibitor hall with exhibits there for about 90 exhibits for you to show your good work. We'd love to have you there with us. If you have any reason to reach out to me, go ahead and go to the website, peaceconference2020.org. Click on the contact link, and I'll see an email from you, and I'll answer that email right away if you have any questions at all.
All right, thank you very much. And also, when you start thinking of hating somebody, you think about the San Diego example. When somebody can forgive somebody whose son killed his grandson, they can even become friends. Well, follow that, right? So we have enough hatred in the world. We need to do love, more love. My dear friends, I do call upon you guys to listen up, to look around. We have such a big world, and yet, step by step, we can make a difference. All right? So, see you next time.